Hey guys, what's up? It's Murphy from Warcurse.
This is Morgan Weller from Lustravi.
Hey, this is David Rivera from Ex Mortis.
This is Stacy Savage of Savage Master.
This is Ben from Goat Whore, and you're listening to the Great Metal Debate Podcast.
Metal Maniacs, I'm excited to be joined by Necrol from Floridian Black Metal Warriors Secret She Kept. Necrol, thanks so much for joining us on the Great Metal Debate.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for having me.
We're talking to you from Nashville, Tennessee, where Secret She Kept is about to perform at Daisy Dukes on the second evening of your Eastern U.S. tour, along with Lustravi. How long has it been since you guys have played Nashville?
This is the first time we played Nashville. I've been here with my other band called the Bazazel, but this is the first time we've been kind of on this side of the East Coast. Like, usually it's more of the actual coast itself, but this time we're hitting other places like Panama City, Nashville, and stuff like that, so this is the first time we're here.
So several new markets on this tour.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be, I mean, so far, Panama City last night was awesome, and everybody keeps telling me that the tonight should be pretty good too, so looking forward to it.
Always good to hit new markets and places that have potential new fans who haven't seen you before.
Yeah, definitely. That's I wanted to come here for quite a while. This is one of the spots we've toured a lot throughout the country, and this is one kind of little area that we've never really gotten into. So for this run, I was like, we need to come up this way now.
Being based in Kentucky, we're used to folks kind of going up the seaboard and then going around near Canada, back down through Texas. And sometimes bands can tour the U.S. a few times and not get to this mid-south or lower Midwest area.
That happens in Florida, too. A lot of the bands, like, they don't want to take the dip all the way down into Florida, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm in the same boat there with that one. We missed out on a lot of stuff.
You're on this tour with Lustravi. We talked with Morgan from Lustravi back in July about their new album. Have you all shared the stage with Lustravi before?
Yeah, we played with them. I want to say it's a couple times we played with them in Orlando. I believe this year we played with them. I think both times this year, yeah. So they fit really well with us, and I mean, they know how to go on the road, and we were just like, I think this would be a good team up for this one. So
seems like it's a good match of two black metal bands, but certainly not identical, almost contrasting styles, but still within the black metal genre.
Yeah. They're more like, oh man, I don't really know what they categorize themselves. I don't want to get it wrong. They're more of a raw black metal band. More I would say more traditional if I had to say, and then we're more of like black death metal, kind of like behemoth-y kind of thing, I guess. So, but it fits, though, because it's still, the forms of black metal. And I kind of like doing that because it's kind of something for all fans of that genre you can come to see, like the different styles of black metal playing together. I think that works out pretty well.
Well, for folks who aren't familiar with Secret She Kept, can you give me maybe the thumbnail sketch of how you guys came to be and how you got up to this point?
I started the band in, I think the first demo I did was in like 2001, and I was just a solo kind of thing, and then I got approached from the demo, the Symphonies of Eternal Suffering and Damnation demo. I got approached by Morbid Souls Music, like an underground label at the time, and they wanted to put out a full length, whenever I wanted to put it together, and I was like, sure. So I did the whole thing again just by myself, and they released it. And then at that point, it was just like I kind of want to put this together as a full band. So from that, I found musicians, and we got everything together. And people started to ask us if we wanted to come out of state and start doing stuff, and that's pretty much where everything took off at that point. And then we ended up recording in like 2009 the most recent album, Le Fin Absolue du Monde, and it's pretty much brought us to this point right now in a nutshell.
And so it started out with you as the original member. Are all the musicians playing with you tonight full band members, or some of them touring members?
Everyone in the band is, our bass player, Hydrus, he's a session guy, but he's been with us for a while now, so I mean, that might, he might just stay with us at this point. But Satorn, our guitar player, he's an original member. He's been with me since the very beginning. And Sin, he's been in the band now for over 3 years now. So we're working on a new album. It should be coming out hopefully early next year, and that will have all of the current lineup on it. So, yeah, that'll be the first time we get to hear all of that.
I've heard some of your music, and it's very complex, both lyrically and musically. How difficult is it to perform those songs live? Are there some songs that you guys put down on record and then it doesn't come together live?
Yeah. There are. Some of the stuff for the new album that we're working on, actually, it's kind of easy when you're writing it and everything, and then you go to track it and everything, and but then when you do something in the studio, and then when you try to recreate what you did, sometimes it's just not happening. You sometimes might need 3 guitar players to make it happen or something like that. And so, I mean, as far as our set list now and prior stuff, no, everything's been pretty simple. I mean, maybe 1 or 2 songs have been kind of but the new album, there's 1 or 2 immediately off the top of my head that is just I don't think we can play live. But for the most part, no, we try to keep it, to where we can play them live. So, try not to go over the top.
Do you think about that in the studio, about performing it live, or when you're working on the songs, is it all about producing that piece of music and then figure out how to perform it later?
I would say a little bit. It's kind of in the back of my mind. I mean, if we're writing something, and even if it's just flowing good, and we're doing everything, in the back of my mind, you kind of got to think, because I'm the lead singer and the guitar player, so it's this sounds great, and this is awesome, but is this a song that we are going to want to play live? You know what I mean? And, I mean, for the most part, we don't really have too much of a problem with it, but, I mean, yeah, we sort of keep that in mind when we write stuff, but sometimes it just can't happen, man. You write something awesome, and it's just that's a keeper. So, you can't get rid of stuff like that. But, yeah, I mean, a little bit. It's a little bit in there, thinking about that.
You mentioned singing, and your work is pretty lyrically complex as well. Where do you get your inspiration lyrically? Is that something where you do some writing on the road, or does that come about in the process of crafting the album?
I would kind of say that it's probably the process of crafting the album. Usually what I do is, I think a lot of people do this, you kind of come up with song titles or ideas, for a song. Not verses or anything like that, but a concept for what it's going to be about. And in my case, it's usually a song title. I'll get something that sounds really cool, and I'll be all right, so I'm going to kind of base it around that. But the way I write, it's full album writing, so it kind of, it's not just a song here and then, later on at some point write a song there. When we go into album mode, we write album stuff, and then as far as lyrics goes, it all kind of culminates when that process is happening. So, yeah, I mean, it's pretty much just an album thing, but
sounds like you have an idea for the song, and then that helps create itself, working out the idea.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, it does kind of do that. It's a difficult thing. I've never really thought about how that kind of happens. It just kind of, I don't know, yeah. I mean, you go into writing mode for stuff, and it kind of works itself out there. It's a little difficult to try to write stuff on the road. Some people do it, but there's not really a whole lot of time, ideas. I mean, maybe you can throw them into your phone real quick, and or then you'll probably forget them and something like that. So, yeah, I mean, album concept. Usually, each album that we do is not it's not a themed album necessarily, but each album has kind of a concept to it. You know what I mean? The first album was more a depressive kind of black metal feel. The next album was just power and violence and kind of thing. And all the lyrics are always kind of based sort of somewhat around those concepts for albums. So, and the newest album is more of it's based off of occult stuff and witchcraft kind of thing. So all the songs sort of somewhat follow those lines a little bit. So, and those all came together, with, all right, we're kind of going to do this with the album, and that's what the lyrics are going to be about. So that's kind of how that comes about, I suppose.
When we first met back in Daisy Dukes, we had a chance to see the stage size, fairly small venue. Have you guys had the opportunity in the past to play some larger venues or even some festivals where you have a little more stage size? And does that do you feel like as an artist and performer that affects your performance?
We have played some pretty big stages before. There's a place, in Tampa where we're from. The Brass Mug is a pretty huge. That's a really big stage, actually. The Orpheum, we play there. That's a big stage. And as far as does it affect the performance? Yeah, definitely does. Like a lot of people like playing to like smaller kind of venues because like the people can pack in tighter. Like you can like feel the people there with you. You know what I mean? Like you feed off of what they give you a lot of the time. You know, and in bigger places, it's a little more complicated to do that because like even if there are a ton of people watching you and you're still getting the vibe, it's like you could almost look away and not really notice sometimes if there's a giant gap between you and them. You know what I mean? So
Photo pit creates a great chasm between you and the band.
Yeah, like barricade stuff, or like even if the stage is too high up off the ground and stuff. Like in Fort Lauderdale, you got the Culture Room, which is a great venue. Everyone, like all the big bands, play there and everything. But that thing is literally, I would say, about 5 feet off the ground, or more. I don't know. But it's looking down at like that. It's like, that's kind of like, it's kind of weird. But, we always get good reactions, so we're always able to feed off the people. But I would say that places like this, Daisy Dukes, I would say is like, that would be a really good, just hot, sweaty metal show, man. So.
I'm going to get to see exactly what you guys are doing. Yeah, I can't hide anything from you tonight.
Yeah, no, definitely not. We got, that stage in there is actually not, as small as some of the places we played, and so we'll be able to put on the full performance tonight, full banners and gear and everything. So that's fine. And that'll work for us, man.
You and the band have been around for well over a decade. You talked about the history. I'm just kind of curious, is there a secret to keeping that up, to keeping the enthusiasm? Some bands, they start strong and then peter off. Is there something that you feel like that you've keyed in on to keep doing the work, or is a lot of it luck?
Well, we love the music in general, and that's kind of what keeps us going. But, I think with this band, and I think maybe a lot of bands, forward motion keeps you going a lot. If you're kind of like just paddling around in the same little pool all the time, that gets boring. So, if you can just keep doing bigger and better things, like, keep pushing towards further out, keep trying to play with like better bands, keep trying to do this, like just keep progressing. I think that has a whole lot to do with it. And that's helped us out, because it seems like every time we try to take the next step, we do it every single time. So that's been helping out a lot to keep the motivation up for this. So
no sitting on your laurels. You have to keep accomplishing something.
Exactly. Keep forward motion. Like, you don't, no stepping backwards, no, stuff like that. The bands that are listening to this, they know what I'm talking about. That forward motion, man. You got to keep that going. So I think that's a really big key to doing it. And of course, just loving what you do, because you can't play extreme metal starting out expecting to be like some like huge rock star. You know what I mean? So it's like, you just got to keep doing it. You got to love to do it, and that forward motion is what it's, in my opinion, probably the one thing that really keeps it going. So, because nobody wants to keep doing this. I can't imagine big bands would like, if you've upgraded to a bus, I'm sure you don't want to downgrade to like having to like go back on tours in 2 different cars, and you don't want to do that. So I would definitely say that the forward progression is what keeps it moving like that for so long. For longevity, that's got to be the key.
Well, tell me a little bit about the short-term plans for Forward Motion, as far as when this brief Eastern North American tour is completed. What's next for Secret She Kept, and when can fans expect that next album to be released?
The plans after this, actually, we are already talking about going back on the road again, starting in March. I think we're going to try to head over to Texas for a little while, and then we've had some offers for up in the Chicago area, and we've played Minneapolis before, but we haven't spent much time up in that area, just kind of like here, like we've only kind of been through it or something. So I think that starting in March, we're already going to be trying to get back on the road and keep doing this. But as far as the album goes, it's been a slow process with this album. We're doing things because like I said, that forward progression. Like we're working right now. We're doing the new album with James Murphy. Really? Yeah, he's producing it and everything. Awesome. And so we're being like, he mastered our last album, and so I got a hold of him. I was living in Lakeland in Florida, and he lived like down the road from me, and I got a hold of him, and I was like talking to him about mastering it, and he was like, man, we should just do the whole thing. So I was like, all right, cool. And so, we're doing things with this album that we haven't done before, so like, even with that, we're already trying to keep moving forward. But it's been a little bit of a process because we've switched studios and everything, and I've moved out of Lakeland into Tampa, so now I'm a little further from James's studio. So, I mean, things like that. I mean, and we're trying to get it right. We're trying to make it awesome, so, I mean,
no artificial deadlines for you.
Yeah, we don't have anything. There's no reason to rush it, So I mean, we're just gonna make it as good as we can do it, and whatever. But I would like to say, I mean, honestly, all I got left to do is track vocals. So and we're almost halfway through that now. I would say that people could start looking for new stuff maybe by spring, something like that. So.
They should definitely do that. Until that time, and wrapping up with you today, Necrol, tell fans how they can purchase the existing music and merchandise from Secret She Kept.
Where you can download it on all the major downloading things. Like we're on iTunes, and you can find us on Spotify, and you can buy the stuff off of Amazon. But I know a lot of people want to directly help the band too. So we do have a Bandcamp page, and it's just, I think it's secretshikept.bandcamp.com or something like that. Everything that you can get anywhere from us is right on that page too. So that's pretty much it. Bandcamp, iTunes, Amazon, all that stuff. And of course shows. You can get anything you want to at shows.
That may be the best way to support this band. Come out and see you guys on this Eastern U.S. tour. There may be some more dates to be released later this year as far as in 2017. Necrol, thanks so much for taking the time to join us, and can't wait to see you guys perform and blow the roof off this joint tonight.
Awesome, man. Thanks a lot. Thanks for coming here, having me on and everything, and see you guys soon on the road.